Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers with the Starter Girls. I'm Jennifer Loading.
And I'm Brianna Drelas. And today we are talking to the achievers, creators, magic makers, and the dreamers.
These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com.
And a special shout out to Upbeat Media Productions for your full production event needs. Be sure to let us know and we will connect you with Chloe.
That's right. And we're in his studio right now.
And we're in his studio.
That's it. We love it here.
Studio.
That's great. In the studio with Chloe. It's all awesome. All right. We have a guest here today. So super excited. She's from out of town, which just makes this even, I think, so much more special. So I want to introduce you to our audience real quick. MaiLinh Ho is the co-founder and chief product officer of RevoGens, a mental fitness platform that helps people reach their peak performance. Graduated from Babson College in 2021, MaiLinh has since led the product team at Publicis Media, the world's leading media company, to win in a platform world. She's an avid learner with an unwavering purpose to help people turn their toughest challenges into their most powerful assets. So welcome to the show. We're excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
This is so much fun. How are you liking it in Dallas so far?
Oh, I actually love it. I mean, one is better weather for sure. It's storming back at home. There are tornado warnings all the time.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely a great escape. And actually, the food here is amazing. I went to this Japanese restaurant yesterday, and my friend and I were just drooling over the food. So everything is going really well.
You can't leave us at that. We got to know where you went.
I know. Where did you go?
Where'd you go?
So Tei-An is in downtown Dallas. You definitely have to check it out.
Oh, wow.
They're known for their soba noodles. They make it in-house, and they fly in their sushi for less than 20 hours from when they serve it to you. So
Okay.
it's extremely fresh.
I'm going to have to check that place out.
Dallas is definitely the place for restaurants. I moved here from Houston, and it was so crazy because I thought we had a lot of restaurants there. And then when I came here, I'm like, you could probably just eat somewhere different every single day. There's just so many restaurants here.
Dallas has more restaurants per capita than any other state.
I believe it.
What?
That's true. Yes. It is
Oh
a
my
restaurant
gosh.
town. That's exactly correct.
Wow.
You can find everything, everything.
Wow. I thought it would be like New York or LA, that's the foodie cities that they always speak of, but Dallas is so underrated.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is underrated.
It is.
And you can eat good while you're here. Just make sure you check it all out, right? This is so fun. Well, we're glad that you're here, and thanks for coming into the studio today. So
Thank you. I love it.
I want to open this up. I want to talk a little bit about RevoGens because MaiLinh and I actually met through a coaching platform, which is kind of interesting. And so we had a nice conversation about this. And her story is just her sister and her both own this company. And it's really neat, their background, how this kind of came about. So I want you to tell our listeners what this is and how this all evolved for you guys.
Yeah, so I think, for RevoGens in short, right, we're a mental fitness platform that holistically transform people. And, we started with leaders like family entrepreneurs like ourselves, but we actually have a social giving back mission. And so for every session that's booked, we give one back to coach young students and, young millennials in, their challenges through life. Because, we really look at this as, our child, but it's something that we wish we could have had when we were younger. And so, we're getting people exposed to coaching, who are students, but working professionals who are in transition in their career or, family entrepreneurs. So all types of people. And so, what we do is, is all centered around this purposeful model. And we created this model because we realized that so many people live their lives without a purpose, right? And it doesn't come until much later, until they have gotten into, kind of the bottom of their lives, and they figured that, actually I'm not happy. And actually I was there, right? So when I was in college, my third year of college, I went to study abroad in Barcelona. And, when I was abroad, I mean, from the outside looking in, I was like, posting on Instagram of like everywhere that I went. I was living my life. I was traveling, across Europe. I had, we're meeting a bunch of people, but, inside I just felt really negative at the same time. I felt a sort of emptiness. I was getting an internship. I was doing everything that, everyone told me was really great, right? This is exactly what you need to be doing at this stage in your life. But I just felt so unfulfilled, and, I was judging myself. I was judging others. I was comparing myself. And so I was really in this negative rut. And this is actually in the beginning of 2020. So beginning of,
goodness.
COVID. And, so we had to cut our study abroad short. So this was in March that we had to go back, and actually within 5 hours when, the president of the United States, announced that we were closing borders, I was out of my room. I was actually sleeping, and my friend, called me. He was like, "You need to pack up, MaiLinh. Like, we gotta go. They're closing down the borders." Yeah. So I was out of my room within 5 hours. I was going to the airport, and, as I got back, actually during the entire flight, I didn't feel really sadness. I felt a relief that, oh, now I can take a pause on like whatever that I was doing and really look inward of like, what is going on with me? Like, why don't I feel happy when I'm supposed to? And so, COVID came as a blessing in disguise for me that, I had time to really think and research. I took this course called The Science of Well-Being. Is taught by Yale professor Dr. Laurie Santos, who specializes in happiness. Have you heard about her?
Yes, I have her.
Yeah, it's an amazing course. I took it, and when I started taking it, my sister at the time, so MailLinh, she's 6 years older than me. At the time, she just had her baby, so she was a new mom. She was finishing up writing her own book on the healthcare system because her husband worked in the healthcare system for a while, and she helped him too with his own clinic. And so, when she was writing this book, she started coming to me and telling me about what she was feeling, that, she feels really overwhelmed, and that, it sort of sounds like depression. And she was even scared to admit that it was postpartum depression is what she was experiencing. And so I was like, yeah, MailLinh, like, I'm taking this course. Why don't you join me to take this course? And let's see if we get better. Let's see if we can learn something out of this. And so we started taking it together. We started reading books. I started reading a book per week and just learning about the mind and listening to podcasts and, really learning, all the things that I thought made me happy before, like getting a job, getting, different things that are, graduating college, getting good grades, all of these things didn't make me happy, actually. It's about savoring the moments. It's about the connections, right? Really understanding other people on a deeper level. And I was always kind of scared to go in that realm because it was also taboo in, Asian American culture that in the family, we don't talk about our feelings, and especially growing up with entrepreneurs who are parents. So both of our parents started their own company together. They grew into this wildly successful company in Vietnam who actually employed 30,000 people at the time. Yeah, and my dad is still working there. But around dinner time, it was always about business, right? It was never about how our days went. What pissed us off at school, who were we dating, none of that, right? None of the good stuff, right? And we were kind of always confused, like, what do these numbers mean? Like, what are you talking about in terms of strategy? But I think that helped us to kind of, bring along the business and entrepreneurial spirit that we now embody. But, we started learning all the very important stuff that we didn't learn at home and in school, which is, how do you deal with conflicts? How do you, navigate your emotions? And so, as we learned about that and actually transformed ourselves, through therapy and also coaching, she got coaching for parenting, how to become a better parent. And, I got therapy to really understand the family conflicts and struggles that we had and how that shaped me into who I am today, that, I felt so much better. And I felt limitless. Right? I was like, oh my God, this is the best that I felt in my entire life. Like, how could it be that it took me, 21 years to realize this for myself? And so that's when we started talking more with each other, and we're like, let's stop talking about it. Let's actually do something about it. Let's be the entrepreneurs that we are at heart and innovate in this mental health space that was just growing, right? It's so new, and we're researching, and it's like, there are people that are doing really great stuff, but again, we couldn't find a solution that worked for us in terms of, working with our family members and really getting into the nitty-gritty of it. And so that's when we started working together in January of 2021. We went through so many different business ideas. Like, I'll tell you, the whiteboard and our digital whiteboard was looking so messy. And so, we researched a lot. We interviewed countless of people, like I think more than 50 people. And then one day, one of our mentors was like, I think you guys are doing this all wrong. That you need to just go out there, find your customers who believe in your purpose and your mission, and then create a product behind that. And so that's what we did. We found our first believers, our friends, family, friends of our friends. And so we built this purposeful model around that with really personalized steps to figure out what is it that is going to help them, right, reach to who they want to be, where they're at now, what are the gaps that we can fill in, and personalize, the steps after that. So coaching is a very core component, right? Jen, you're a coach. You know the power that coaching has on people. And if you have a trusted coach that you can, work through these challenges and figure out, challenges that are not only emotional, but spiritual, physical, financial, like all of these things, take a mind of its own that we need to, connect the dots for ourselves. And so a coach that we know, has the power to do that for our clients. And so it works, right? Our clients are really happy, and a lot of them still stay with us, even though we're changing all the time, right? We're still a startup. We're early stage. It's been only 7 months or 8 months that we've done this kind of in that model. But that's what we do, is we help people to reach their peak performance and transform themselves holistically through the power of coaching, as well as other steps that we add in between.
That's awesome.
All right, well, it was great having you on the podcast.
No, it's okay, because I'd be doing the same thing. You're excited about it, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
But something that I wanted to point out is because you mentioned early in there, that it took you 21 years to get that. And I would say that's actually really remarkable because, when I think about my journey and a lot of the people that I coach, my journey, like, I always say it started when I was in my 20s. I didn't know that I was looking for it. I didn't know that I was searching for it. Right. I didn't realize, because I was in the same industry for 21 years and I learned a lot in that industry and I had incredible mentors, but I didn't really know that that's what I needed. Yeah. I now know that was the groundwork to lead me to where I am today. I'm getting chills thinking about it. But for me, it took a massive turn in my life to completely pin me against the wall for me to come to actually solve that and come out of that and recognize there was a pattern of behavior that I was doing over and over. We talked about that and how it was showing up. And so you mentioned things like spiritual and financial, all these, because how you show up in one area of your life tends to follow in other areas of your life. Yep. And that's when I started making connections about how things were manifesting in different ways. The same things were coming up, but they were showing up very differently in the different areas of my life. And so I say it's remarkable to you that you recognize that early on, because most people do not.
Agreed.
And most of the people that I work with, they don't figure this out until later on, and some people never do.
Mid-30s, 40s. Yeah.
Some never figure it out. They go their whole life repeating the same patterns of behavior. They think that it is normal to be unhappy and miserable every day, and they just think that's part of life. And no, it's not. It's not. Yeah, I would disagree.
Right. I would also just say, especially in today's society and our world today, to have a young person like yourself having these conversations and doing the work to dive in and dig in on it, I believe is remarkable. I mean, it's just, and you are also such a great example for young men, women, like I have a 16-year-old and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like your story is so compelling and beautiful, and you're young, so it I think can also be a big encouragement and motivation for young people to like, okay, I don't have to wait to
Yes.
figure this out. I don't have to be in my 40s to finally hit,
Yeah,
you know,
don't have to
and
Yeah.
that's,
wait to decide
Yeah.
you want to change something in your
Yeah.
life. And yes, I agree with Brianna.
and you have
Yeah.
you have the ability to do that. Like, and no one has to
Yes.
give you permission. You can just make the adjustments and make the changes.
Absolutely. And actually, that's what I thought when I was younger, that, actually to be successful in life, you need to do all these things. Actually be a cold boss, the one that is very rigid and like tell people what they need to do and like, climb up the corporate ladder and all these things. And then I was like, okay, once I reach that, then I can do the things that I want to do, right? That was the mentality. And, as we're working with younger students and younger people, we realized that they want to, have something better,
Yeah.
that they're willing to change if they're given the right resources. If their parents, their family, their friends, and their network aren't telling them, like, aren't kind of coming at them for choosing that for themselves, right? So it's like having a coach is so important because you have someone that you can come to and not be judged by your thoughts. And actually, you can explore what is it that you actually want. And so we see, young people really like, having a coach. They like having a confidant next to them that they can go to for any challenges.
Yeah. They sometimes just bouncing ideas. I don't think they even a lot of times need to be told what to do. They just want a
Right.
platform to be able to say, "Hey, I have an idea. How do you look at this?" And you don't even really can't say, "No, I don't think that's a good idea," or not. I always flip it back and it's like, "What do you think?" Like, does this fit align with your core values and what you're looking at? And I would even go so far now to say I think a lot more young people now are becoming more open to that idea because I think there's been stigmas for so long about like mental health and associating coaching, because I think coaching is like therapy, honestly. It's a lot of therapy, you just don't have the fancy title behind it, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're more open. And when you were talking about like how we follow these patterns, I think that all of us have been, that's how we're groomed, from a
Yes.
very early age on. You think about our lives. We go to school, we go to college, we get married, we have to buy a house, we have babies. Everything is in this pattern. And I'm always like saying, like, we need to challenge these patterns, like some of these
Absolutely.
patterns. Do what makes you happy, because if you're going your whole life and you're doing all these things, you can certainly achieve being a boss like that, but you're never going to be happy being that way. Because you're not building relationships, and we need relationships.
And one of the things that you'd mentioned earlier is a lot of the generation now is growing up with Facebook and all these social media things. So they do get that where they feel like, oh, well, I have to either be like this or I have to compare themselves to all these people.
Yes.
And that emotionally that's going to drain someone, and it's going to make them think. I mean, there's like how many people there've been suicides from people that are just like, because they're on Facebook all the time, and they're like, oh, well, I'm not doing this, so it's not, and it's sad. I do like the fact, though, that there are certain things that are on these pages that are reaching out and trying to, like, make note of mental health. I think there's one called something, I can't remember what it's, something in me, I can't remember what it's called, but there's been a couple of them that are out there that are actually trying to reach out and help people, instead of like, oh, you have to go here, you have to do this, you have to get these pictures. And that's the thing that's a bummer is every time people go out now, they're immediately, instead of enjoying where they're at and trying to be where they're at, they want to I have to get 4,000 selfies
Right.
of me here
And me
to
here,
prove
here,
that I was
here.
here. Yeah, and that takes a toll.
Yeah.
Because then they've technically missed the whole thing that they were supposed
Right.
to be at.
Right. They're not living in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned in the course is like being mindful, right? And this is growing to be a very scientific and proven strategy, to help you in your life and deal with stress and all that is mindfulness.
Yeah.
And, when you're talking about, content consumption, right? It's very fast. It's like, and then the next minute you're like, oh my God, 30 minutes has gone by. And then 4 hours. I hear so many stories of young people who are working, right? Or they're students that they spend countless hours kind of scrolling, and it becomes a habit, right?
Yeah,
And
it's addictive. It's created to be addictive. Those platforms designed it that
I
way.
remember the first day I got on TikTok, and I was like, looked at it, and then I looked at the time, and I was like, nope, put that one in.
Yeah,
That was 30 minutes
TikTok
just
can
gone.
be very
It's like,
my in Stephen Covey's book, that's a quadrant you don't want to be in. That is the waste quadrant for sure. But yes, you can totally get consumed in that for a
it's
while.
crazy.
Yes, there's so much crazy on there. I can do it too. I can get in. I'm like, I'm just here for the videos to watch the stupidness. Okay, I'm done.
Yes.
An hour later, I'm done. So good stuff. I wanted to ask you a question about, because obviously you guys are a new startup and you said 7 months earlier. So congratulations. You guys are
Thank
going to be
you.
coming up on a year here soon. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
What do you feel like has been some of the biggest challenges, just getting this thing up and running?
Ooh, I think there are many challenges. I would say even, one challenge that we're facing currently that's kind of like jarring in the back of my head is like, we're growing our teams, right? We're adding new people to our team. And it's, I'm at the same time, I'm working a full-time job. My sister is doing her MBA. She has kids. We lead really busy lives. And it's like, how do we get away from the grunt work of doing it ourselves to being the visionary and leading people, to do the work with us, right? And a lot of our team members are doing it part-time, right? They believe in the mission, but they have other stuff that are going on too, so just like us. And so that's one of the biggest challenges. How do you actually step into that leadership role that can really sustain us in this early stage until we can, kind of have that ripple effect to, having more clients, then actually building out a formidable team and getting funding and all that. So that's really the struggle of the early stage startup right now.
That's good. And I can foresee that. It's hard to step in, and also I feel like when you're bringing people in, and I know I've not had a lot of employees, but I've had people work for me in the past in my business, and it's always been that just letting go of the control, knowing that, hey, are they going to do the same quality? And I'm sure your team is great, but it is something that goes through your mind. Are they going to do the same mission as us, work with the same ferocity and passion that I'm in? But I agree with you that when you get to that place where you can trust your people, you're going to be able to grow. You're going to be able to expand.
Exactly.
Easier.
Exactly. So that's one of the challenges. I think another is also, with the mental fitness field, right? It's super new to people. So we spend a lot of time educating people on it, right? So our customer journey is much longer, right? And we want it to be that way too. In the beginning, we want to really get to know them and them to really get to know us so that there's that trust, right? It's not like you're buying a shoe or you're buying something that's very transactional. This is a relationship-based business, and it's connection-based. It's very, very abstract at the same time, right? It's this sort of trust that you need to build on every level, in terms of our expertise, our ability to get to know them on a one-on-one level. And so we spend a lot of time educating people in that. It's a challenge in terms of timing and, finding people who are also ready for it, ready for coaching.
That's what I was just thinking, being ready to receive.
Exactly.
Because if they're not, you're talking to a wall.
Participate. And participate.
Yeah, and exactly.
Meet
Because
you halfway.
talking but not actually following through. And sometimes that happens when you're coaching. Like you're going through the teaching them, but if they're not actually taking that and applying it, then it's not really doing anything. You're not being mindful.
Exactly.
Mindful is important. Being mindful is important.
Yeah, it's our mind. We need to be mindful of it.
I agree. You can do a lot of changing in your thinking by being mindful. Changing your perception can make a huge difference.
Excuse me.
I just had a moment there.
I just had a quick moment.
I know we're gonna have to pull the candies out today.
Yeah, where's the coffee?
We pull our candies out today. Sometimes we have to get them out when we got a lot of shows. When we start working, we get going. Yeah. So.
Okay, I do have a quick question though.
Go for it.
So with your obviously heavy coaching base for your company, is there a platform that you're using or leveraging for resources or, video trainings or like anything like that? Or is it strictly like live one-to-one private coaching? You know, can you kind of give us an idea of what that model looks like for your company?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in terms of the coaching sessions, so we have individual coaching, right? A coach and the coachee would go into live sessions like on Zoom or Google, and, they would do 45-minute sessions. So that's what we've structured for individual coaching. And then we have this other realm, right? We also have group coaching that we're starting, and we're actually really seeing great results when teams do it together, when family members do it together. It's awesome to go through the journey with other people as well, but you also do that live, right, through Zoom or in person. And then we have training by content. So we have what we call the knowledge drops, where we send our clients expert curated content that are personalized to their needs, what they're working on. And these are, either articles, research, videos, podcasts, anything that actually they want to listen to or read. So we have them do a learning assessment to see what type of, learning style do they prefer the most. And then we curate the content based on that as well. And so this is given to them every week. So when we're talking about social media and the content, we're actually trying to do exactly the opposite, right? We're not delivering fast content at all. We're only, providing one content per knowledge drop. And we actually give them the space to reflect on the content. So after they finish it, they don't go ahead and, do whatever next. Like, we encourage them to take a minute to see, like, okay, did they like this content? Was it useful for them? How do they apply it in their lives? And would they recommend this to others? And so it also helps other people that, we service as well, but it helps them to think about, whether this content is good for them or not. And so that's how we do kind of training by content. And then we do checkpoints every month with our clients. So as a platform, traditionally, I think other platforms, if you try them out, they don't do, it's not high touch like we are, right? It's more like matching and then you're good. You go ahead with the coach. Why clients come to us is that they know they're supported in every step of the way. That, if they're feeling, lost in other aspect that's not covered by coaching, they can address it in different modes, right? By the content or the checkpoints. So the checkpoints are, when clients come into the session one-on-one with a dedicated growth expert from our team. And this is kind of a client champion, they're there to help you set your goals for the month. Reflect on your progress, right? Did you improve or not? And why did you not, right? Kind of reflecting space as well. Reflection is so important on every aspect of their journey. And so, this is space for them to reflect, but also look forward and setting the mantra for the next month, right? How can they get there actually? And so we do this in the checkpoint sessions. We get their feedback on how can we improve the coaching session, the content, and anything else that we can help them with. And so I would say that's, the model steps right there.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So they have their own little personal cheerleader.
Yes.
Kind of is what it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
We're
like
a group
little
of
cheerleader.
cheerleaders.
Yeah. And then they hook them up with the coach. I'm working with them.
Oh, good.
So it's kind
Yes.
of cool. We met through a platform. It's kind of, this is how weird things like just the universe, puts things out there. So, good stuff. And you guys have a really good story. And I think what you're doing is awesome and much needed for, they handle a lot of the administration side of things. So for a lot of coaches in our space, because she's a coach, she does reality TV coaching. It's a little bit different, but
awesome.
we are both working kind of in a space where we're working with individuals. And for us, there's all that administration. They sort of take that back end off where you can just do the coaching that you like to do.
That's nice.
Yeah. So you don't have to do all the other pieces of it, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry if this throws off your
No.
what you have a bit, but I have a question for you. Like, what is reality TV coaching?
There you go.
So I actually prep independent artists who are singers to go on reality singing shows like Idol or The Voice. But my mission is a little different because it's not just about getting on the show. It's about leveraging the platform to create music career opportunities. So I teach them all the online business strategies that they need to have in place before they go on the show so that when the show is over and it will end, their experience will end at some point, they can literally just like squeeze all the juice out of it and create more opportunities from the show and from the connections that they've made. And for, so I have online courses for it and a book, and I do coaching And that's kind of my thing. It's really fun. I love it. And I work with a lot of independent artists inside their music careers on all the strategy and planning. So I
She's
love
a
it.
good strategist. I like helping the business side of things. So we do different things, but we still coach. We kind of pick up the pieces of different. She's a strategy person. I'm the head person.
She's got lots of good vibes that she brings with her.
Yes. Yeah, she always has fun vibes. She
Vibe
does.
bringer.
She does.
Yes.
She does.
Most of the time. Sometimes when I'm down,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen often, but
We're gonna pull the candy out here in a bit.
I know,
Keep it flowing. We got some more of these shows today. So we talked about challenges earlier, and you talked a little bit about that. And I'm sure Brianna didn't bring this up yet, and she probably wants to, about throwing in the towel. We always talk about this. There's definitely been times, I'm sure. What keeps you going with this? What keeps you in the game?
Oh man, talk about throwing in the towel. I think I had that moment about 2 weeks ago, actually.
Sure.
And it's actually a big judge voice, in my mind that when things get really tough between, me and another person, that I think about people are so disappointing that let's just quit now. Like, why waste our time, going ahead? And I'm in a group coaching program right now called Positive Intelligence, and it's helping me to realize that is my judge voice. That's not necessarily me, but it's my judge telling me to quit and to throw in the towel. And so with realizing it, I'm catching it, right? And I'm like, okay, what do I do with this, right? Like, what are the other positive things I can look at to see if I actually want to throw in the towel, right? Because sometimes you should. If it comes down to it, there are certain decisions that you need to make, and that includes that. But, a big part of why I do what I do is because of my purpose and the mission. I work with clients all the time, every day, and I see that it's helping them, right? That I'm here for a greater purpose, and it's just not me. It's not me and another person that, I'm arguing with or I'm having conflict with, but this is something that we're building for, a bigger, wider audience, and it's only going to grow, and it's helping their friends, their families. So we kind of have a responsibility and a duty to keep on going. My good friend, he keeps telling me you can't quit. I'm sorry, but you can't. This is helping me. I'm counting on this, and so that's what keeps me going is the sense of purpose and keeping that really strong.
That's awesome. And you mentioned at the beginning about your culture and how it's kind of taboo to talk about your feelings and bring that to the table, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping, and this is kind of a personal question, are your parents, are they cool with you and your sister diving into all this?
That's an awesome
how's that
question.
going?
I was about to ask the same thing. That's funny.
I love that you asked that. So, it has always been an expectation from our parents that we would one day come back to help out with the family business, right? They sent us abroad, right, to get a better education, build ourselves. And they wanted us to come back. And actually, my sister did at one point. I also interned there briefly over the summer when I was in my, freshman year of college. But my sister went back. And, she, at first, it was like a honeymoon stage that, she was like the prodigal child coming back home, being welcomed by everyone. It was amazing. And that was, the reality until she started forming different opinions from my dad and from, her peers. And so conflicts grew, and there was, no one that she could really turn to talk to. She felt like she failed our family. I was actually working with her because I was in college, and we were doing a family entrepreneurship class together through my college. And, she told me, I remember, she was like, MaiLinh, you need to come back as soon as possible. I need you here. And she was encouraging me to graduate in, 3 years instead of 4. And I was like, okay, you need me? Okay, I'm there, right? I was on track to graduate early, but she never told me what she was experiencing in terms of feeling really burnt out. She lost a lot of weight, and she was feeling very lonely, that she had no one to turn to. And she couldn't get through to my dad. My mom understood, but no one could get through my dad, and he's a leader. And so, it was a really difficult relationship. They didn't have a close relationship growing up, right? And adding into this business perspective too made it even, worse. And so, at one point she just needed a break, and, she came back to the US, is now doing her MBA, and this is when we started working together. And, our parents always want us to go back one day. I mean, my dad calls me all the time. He's like, when are you coming back? Like, I'm going to let you do this or this. But I know his working style, and it's very different from mine. And I don't think I could even go back, to work in a culture, right? In the Vietnamese working culture is so different. Here it's very kind of straightforward. Sometimes you do have to, master the art of communicating to people and things like that, negotiating. But in Vietnam, it's very different. It's kind of, people are sort of like pressure cookers there. They boil things up, right, inside and don't let it out until one day it bursts and they're like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, our parents are, supportive, but they want us to go back.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I'd want my children near me too. But that's another challenge that you and your sister will walk through together while you're growing this company. And the cool thing also about your company is that you can do it from anywhere.
Yes.
You have that flexibility. And I think that's one of the, in my opinion, for me, being location independent, I believe is a word that they use to describe that, is really appealing for me as a coach, is knowing, I mean, I could be in Mexico doing what I'm doing. And I love that about being a coach.
Yes, like I'm going to Colombia next month, because my work also does remote, but I totally, am right there with you in terms of remote, and I can go back to visit, whenever, and still have, some sort of close relationship with them whenever I want to. But yeah, sometimes they don't get what I do, right?
Sure.
They're like, what is this that you're doing? Like, why do we need coaching? Why do we need to talk about mental health? But they're slowly realizing that it actually helps us because they see, how we're able to grow.
And how y'all are thriving.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
All right, last question I want to ask you really quick, and then we'll do our rapid fire. Any advice that you would give for somebody starting out as a entrepreneur?
Ooh.
It's a tough one. She's like, I got lost. Where do I start?
Oh my
Give
gosh.
us the main things, MailLinh.
Yes.
The main things.
Yes. I would say build what you would want and what other people that you care about would want, right? There's so many people that you can build things for, but you have to tap into your purpose and your passion so that you can last through those many challenges that are come at you, right? And it will help you be resilient much easier and much more natural. So build what you would use yourself and what other people that you care about would also use.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So great having you today.
Yeah. All right, let's do some rapid
Okay,
fire.
let's do it.
Questions.
You start?
Okay, so yes, I will start. What is your favorite cuisine? Food to eat?
Oh, Vietnamese.
Okay.
How about you?
Sushi. Japanese.
Oh, you have to go to Taiwan then.
Mexican. Those are my two favorite. That's
Yes.
good. All right, favorite book.
I'm reading this right now, The Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. Have you heard of it?
I just saw that yesterday when I was going through my Audible.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like a toolkit for any emotions that you face in your life. You're like, okay, I'm feeling anger. Let me read about it and really process it. It's great.
Atlas of the Heart.
Yes.
Brene Brown. Okay. She's amazing.
She's awesome. My idol.
Oh, it's my turn.
I keep looking. We got
Okay. Sorry. Music. What's your favorite? Who's your favorite band or artist, musician?
Girl, Beyonce. Houston native.
Very good.
Beyonce's my favorite.
Queen Bee.
Queen Bee. All the
right.
way.
Last fun one I'll ask you. Bucket list destination.
Oh my goodness. The Maldives.
Oh, wow. Yes.
I need that right now.
too.
To just
Let's
get
go.
away. Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's pack our bags right now and let's go.
Can I bring the kids? No, okay.
Yeah, no kids.
In a different in a different
We got scratch kids. We got scratch kids. Adult time. All right. Well, this has been awesome, MailLinh. Thank you for coming on here and talking about what you're doing. Love your story. Love what's going on. All this greatness. If we want to send our audience to come check out your platform, where do we want to send them?
Yeah, RevoGens.com. RevoGens.com. RevoGens, short for Revolutionizing Generations.
Oh, RevoGens.com. And same on social media, Instagram, etc. at RevoGens. or-
Yes, at revo.gens for Instagram. LinkedIn is just RevoGens.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll make sure too when this goes out that we get the links. in there
Perfect.
so it gets
Thank
in
you
the
so
right
much.
places. So
Appreciate that.
it's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is wonderful, ladies.
Thank you.
And
Loved it. Yeah. And Chloe. We appreciate Chloe. Yes. All right. We
Thank
do
you.
want to say to our audience, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook because we can't do this without you. And hit that subscribe button on the YouTube.
Okay, and I have a parting thought for us, ladies and gentlemen. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. And that's by Alice Walker.
That's good.
Oh,
Thanks.
Bam.
Boom.
Amen.
Boom, boom.
Love
All
it.
right. To live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.